In this video, I'm going to introduce two wave functions that we're going to encounter in this course, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, but in the end, we don't have to have these functions mastered. We only have to know a few things, and I'll clarify what those are. So you can see the graphs here. In red, we have the sine function, and in blue, we have the cosine function. And the way that they are defined is all based off of the unit circle. So a circle of radius 1 that's centered at the origin. So we see this little black dot that's moving around our circle there, and it corresponds to an angle which is drawn in green there. So as that black dot goes around, we see that it always has a y-coordinate and it always has an x-coordinate. The y-coordinate of that black dot is the value of the sine function corresponding to the green angle. So you notice that the black dot and the red dot have the same y value at all times, whereas the blue dot on the cosine function, it will give us the x-coordinate of that black dot at every point in time. So that they're synced up. So there are a few things that we need to know about these functions. Basically, they show up in models of things that repeat on a cycle. So for example, phases of the moon or the level of the tide. I mean, it shows up very naturally. And in a trig class, we would study these functions. We get to know them very well. They help us to answer a lot of questions about angles and distances. But for the purposes of this class, there are really only three things that we need to know. We need to know that these two functions are wave-shaped. So if we're trying to model some data and the output looks like a wave, we're going to use either a sine or a cosine function. And for the most part, we can pick either one. They're just shifted versions of each other. We need to know that the output values for these functions go from y equals -1 up to y equals +1. And we need to know that the output values repeat every 2 pi units. So here I'm just drawing a small portion of these curves, but they would just keep repeating forever and ever. So if we look at the red sine function here, it goes up and then down. Here the x value is pi, and here it's at 2 pi we actually see that it starts repeating again. So right here it does the same thing it did at the origin. It goes up, down, and up. So those are the wave functions, the sine and cosine function, and that's what we need to know for our course.